Good evening and welcome to All About Sport, live from the top of the town studios, Colley Street, Cavan, on your local channel, cavantv.com. Owen McConnon caught up with sports legend Jimmy Magee when he went to Cavan this week to sign copies of his new book, which is available in Eason's on Main Street, Cavan, and Pearse Street in Mullingar. And we're going to finish out the show with that this evening, but join me again next Wednesday evening at the same time for more on All About Sport.
Jimmy Magee, welcome to Cavan, the memory man. A book? I would have thought with so many memories you'd have volumes.
Funny thing you should say that. I have volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. Well, reluctantly, Gillan Macmillan are the publishers. I thought I'd mention that. No, but I will tell you, they said, we want you to do a book. Very unusual that somebody approaches a person to do it, rather than the other way around. But I thought everything that had been known was being said and published somewhere or other. But I did it, and funny enough, it's gone well.
Now, you've done it...
Actually, it was nominated for the Sports Book of the Year.
But is that a surprise?
Yeah, to me it is.
But that wouldn't be a surprise to the general public, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't... The do was on last night. We're recording this on the 23rd of November. And last night the Book Awards dinner was on at the RDS in Dublin. And people were saying, you'd be in the running. I said, I hope they didn't think I was dismissive. I said, I don't really care. And neither I did. I would care if I won it. It would be terrific. But if I didn't win it, so what? It'd still be raining this evening.
Your book is different, though, in that where other sports people write books, it's about a specific discipline. But you're right across the spectrum of sport. Yeah,
and it's not all sport either, which is an interesting thing. It's bits about music and a little bit about the All-Stars, which began in this county in 1966, and my travels, because I'm interested in that. I'm interested in travelling, interested in geography, and there's the sad bits as well, because you knew Paul yourself, my son Paul, who died tragically 4 years ago. Every death is a tragedy in whatever family it happens, but all of that is in the thing. So it's all stuff I'm familiar with, obviously, because it's me. And I think that makes the book readable, I hope.
And the trips abroad, obviously I'm sure you get a mention, but Olympic Games, World Cups, how many now at this stage?
Well, in Olympic Games, 11 summer and 3 winter, 14. London was the 14th. And I'm not finished yet because I started packing my suitcase this morning for Rio. In case I leave anything out, I have the nice bright shirts for the sunshine, and I have the shorts for Copacabana Beach. And you know me for the shorts and the beach volleyball.
Very much so, yeah, absolutely.
I was very disappointed when I went to see beach volleyball in Atlanta in 1996, and I was so disappointed when I got there to find it was men's beach volleyball. Right. So I said, to hell with them, and I left it.
And I think they have assigned Marty Morrissey anyway to the women's.
Yeah, well, a good man, you know, Adonis.
When you look at your memoirs, is there anything specific that sticks out in your mind?
No, the sad thing is Paul.
Yeah,
the death of Paul. In fact, there's a lovely picture in the book, if I might say so. I never can find this when I'm looking for it, but it's a picture of two men, and there it is there. I don't know if you can pick up that. It's difficult enough, because this is an unrehearsed piece. But there are two men there, one an adult man and one a boy man, and they're walking away. And one of them is, I put the caption I put on it, one is heading for the next world, and that's Paul. He was dead a short time later. And this is his little son, who is heading into his new world. God only knows what it has in store for him. But neither of them knew the picture was being taken. So that's, I'm telling you this because you knew Paul. Yeah. And just overleaf on that picture is another one of the three boys. Mark used to say, the three brothers. Well, there we are together. This is the eldest of the trio.
But there was a very... and
that's the last time Paul ever stood on his own 2 feet. Never ever again was he standing up.
There was a unique bond between you, though, wasn't there? And
Yeah,
still
we
is.
had a bit of crack, yeah. See, what makes the crack, I think, in any family, Paul and I were nearly the same age. I know we were father and son, or son and father, but he was born when I was still in my 20s. And when I was still in my 20th year, rather, not my 20s. So when I became 50, he was 30. So we were the same age.
And it was very interesting when playing with the Jimmy Magee All-Stars. It was very easy for Liam Campbell as a commentator, because Paul Magee to Jimmy Magee to Mark Magee, back to Jimmy Magee, back to Paul Magee.
I'd be mentioned more often than that.
Well, that's as may be. But you definitely had huge respect for you. They admired what you did, but they admired you.
Well, I had respect for them
Absolutely.
too, which is very important. And it's important in any family, because you could easily get carried away with Paul, who did a lot of things. There's one nice story. May I tell you that?
Absolutely.
About Paul? When he was playing with his college, which is Oakland's College in Stillorgan in Dublin, and they were in the Leinster College's final. And he was playing centre half forward or left half forward on the team. But he was also running cross country at the time, and he was also playing soccer with Cherry Orchard. And he said to me one day, "I'll need your help such and such a day." "What's wrong?" He said, "I want you to give me a lift, because I'm playing for Oaklands, and I have to play. It's a very important game." But he loved Oaklands, he loved playing Gaelic. And they won the match, and he scored a goal on 7 points, I think it was. And then he got into the car, changed off his football boots, put on running shoes, and went down to Belfield to run in the cross country, the Leinster Championship. And he finished in the silver medal position. Didn't have anything to eat, took off the running shoes, the spikes, in the back of the car, out to the soccer match, played centre forward, scored a hat-trick, and they won the match. So he did 3 things in the one day, and not a bite to eat, and not a word of complaint out of him.
But he was the ultimate sportsman, and again, he was across a number of different disciplines.
Yeah, well, he loved it, and he was...
At international level.
Hard to believe he's gone. Yeah, he was bowler. He was captain of Ireland and all that, as a bowler. But there he is, a fit fella, gone.
Like many others on the scene.
Like many others, indeed. But he won't be forgotten, that's
Absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely.
And the lovely thing about Paul is that whilst he was still able to talk, and he couldn't talk at the end of his life, because that's one of the things about motor neuron, but he said whilst he was able to talk, he made a decision, because they don't know the cause of the disease, and because no one knows what causes it, then no one can have a cure for it. But he bequeathed his brain to research whilst he was still able to say so. So the day he died, they came out from Beaumont Hospital, opened him up at the back of his neck, took whatever cells they needed, stitched him up again, put him back in the coffin. And to this day, his cells, his brain cells, are in the research bank in Beaumont Hospital. So effectively, he's still alive.
And wanting to help others when he knew.
Well, maybe
he couldn't.
somewhere down the road, someone will be cured, and that'd be the greatest legacy a man can give.
Absolutely.
Much better than scoring a point or a goal for the All-Stars.
That's for sure, and we'll come to that in just a moment. But born in America.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Grew up in County Louth, and
2 great football counties.
well, absolutely. Did you, at any stage growing up, believe that you were going to be what you are? Although you did commentate in your back garden, I presume.
Yeah, I did. I knew what I wanted to be at about 10 or 11 years of age. I swear to God. And then the neighbours thought, "Are you looking for me, lady?"
Yeah,
I think you are. That date, I'll see you under the clock.
Clearys.
No, not at Clearys. Yeah, I knew at that age what I really wanted to be, and I pursued it. I actually wrote to Raddy Wern, as it was at the time, in children's writing, because I was a child, but I didn't tell them I was a child, so they knew damn well from the writing scrawl all over. And they wrote down the typical reply, "I'm sorry, we have no vacancies at the moment, but we'll keep your letter on file." And you'd never know. Do you? How many times have you got them in your life? I still get them. Anyway, I pursued it, and I wouldn't let it go, and eventually I got an audition from a man called Harry Thulier, a lovely man I write about fondly in the book. And he gave me an audition one Tuesday, and I thought that'd be the last of it. And on the Thursday, the phone rang, and it was Harry saying, "That was a very good for a newcomer. Will you do a match for us on Saturday?" And it was a hockey match, and I said, "Yes, I will." And that was in May 1956, and I'm doing it since.
And no regrets.
Oh, no regrets at all. In
Would it be
fact,
fair to say that
can I meet you here in 50 years and I'll tell you the
Absolutely.
same,
Of course
no
you can.
regrets. Why is everybody laughing? I'm only 48 now, so another 50, so...
We talked about the cross all the disciplines of sport. But would it be fair to say that GAA is where your heart is?
Well, that's where my heart began, because my father played, and I was reared down in the Cooley Kickham's territory in County Louth, and that would have been the first game I ever saw. So first game I ever heard on the radio had been Michael O'Reilly doing a match somewhere, and so I made up my mind that that's what I was going to do. But I was detoured along the way. I have no regrets about that. In fact, I have no regrets at all, of any description.
That is fantastic.
Bar
But you
the
still have
deaths.
ambitions, I bet.
I have ambitions. My number one ambition is to live longer.
Right.
That's number one. Number two is to be in Rio in 2016 for the Olympic Games. And after that, I'll think of some other scheme to keep me going till 2020. But I'll be 81 in 2016. And if I make it to the Games after that, which I think will be in Russia, I will go on my Zimmer frame. But to hell, I'll go anyway. And I'll bring a ball.
We're in Cavan. Holds a very special place for you. The 6th of June 1966 is a date that will be etched in your memory forever and a day.
It will. Maybe it'll be on my tombstone. Or maybe I think I might do what Billy Connolly's going to do on his. I told you I wasn't Cotton when I complained. Yeah, it was. That night was in Ballyjames stuff in the county of Cavan. It was the very first Jimmy Magee All-Stars match. An evening, a bit like it is here this evening in Cavan Town, rainy or threatening to rain all the time, but God was on our side. It didn't actually rain during the game. God, I saw a match that night. Well, I'll tell you about the first score I got.
Please.
Oh, I must have gone 12 feet in the air, caught this ball, come down. 3 fellas tackled me, 2 from the left-hand side, 1 from the right. And I hopped the ball, 1 tap on the toe, sidestepped another 2 guys coming in. Then I took a shot at the net. In fact, if you went out to Ballyduff now, the net's probably still shaking.
I have it in the museum, I think.
And then I woke up. Mind you, I wanted to be a boxer as well, and somebody told me I couldn't sleep at night, worried. Somebody told me I should count sheep, and every time I got to 9 I got up. Anyway,
And
the old ones are the best, Barney.
it's nice to have Willie McCormick, for example, here.
Well, he was there the very
Willie was
first
there
night in
first night.
Ballyjames stuff.
And it
Yeah.
was a Jimmy Magee All-Stars against the Drifters and the Mighty Avens selection.
Yeah, and we are drifting since.
Drifting.
It was a great.
It's been a wonderful journey.
Fellas who are long gone.
Yeah.
Paddy Smith,
Yeah.
Jerry Walsh,
Yeah.
Brian Finlay,
Yeah.
Larry Cunningham,
Yeah.
and Joe Dolan, of course,
Yeah.
and loads of others on our side. Michael Hand, Paddy O'Brien, Doc Carroll.
We're getting sidetracked here.
Noel
Noel
McCall.
Very interesting thing about Noel McCall. He was actually presenting the charts on Radio 1 as it, or Radio N as it was then, and he did that and travelled down for the second
Travelled
half.
down because he was such a great player. We couldn't do without him. He's probably the greatest player I've never seen.
As you say, one of the great corner forwards have been discussed around the firesides of Ireland in years to come. They'll not be heard about them.
For all Noel is gone, and I was with him. I was with him as recently as Larry Cunningham's funeral, and he was looking quite good for him because he had been very ill, and he told me he was in remission, and that his hair was going back on again because he had the chemotherapy, and he was in great nick. He was telling me he was going in 2 weeks' time. He was starting a new show on one of the commercial radio stations, and less than a week later I was at his funeral. So there's only a few of us left now: Willie McCormick, Jimmy, Owen. One thing for sure, and this is a horrid statement of life, we won't be at each other's funeral.
No, that's for sure. Well, indirectly maybe.
Spirit.
Yeah. The good thing about it is that the Jimmy Magee All-Stars as a group, they're still there. And
Still there.
it's time for a reunion.
It is time for a reunion, and if we could only get somebody to sponsor the reunion,
Yeah.
I think maybe John here
Yeah.
might do it. You'd never know,
Word with John.
even if he's just got out the back now with the checkbook.
Looking at
Now he's got a lawn now.
looking at this book, it's a must read for people for
You think so?
wide and varied reasons, because there's so much in it. Across the disciplines of sport, across the happy times, across the sad times, there's something for everybody. Obviously the reaction you're getting is fantastic.
The reaction is better than I would have hoped. In fact, I was only talking to the people from Gillen Macmillan yesterday, and they're in another print now. It's gone way above what they thought. So I must be doing something right. And maybe I'm doing a lot wrong, but sure, I never won the Ollie. Never.
I think Willie had that sewn up himself, and of course the late Aidan Canning. I think they were the principal recipients of the Ollie Maloney.
You have an
Award.
editing facility for this show.
Well, you want to tell people what the Ollie is, do you?
No, I don't. Funny, I had Ollie in here earlier on. Ollie Leddy.
Big Ollie Leddy, yeah, of course.
Yeah, everybody knows what Ollie I'm talking about.
Well, not everybody. Jimmy, it's great to have you in Cavan, and a very happy Christmas to you, and the best of luck with the book.